Hey, Ryan. Good to see you. Oh, boy. That's the vibe. I don't want to spend too long on this, because it's already done. I just have some extra time to touch it up. Wow. All right. Her head was too big. I have shrunk it. It's looking better. Looking better to me. Even though I know that her fourth finger is behind that third finger, I might add a fourth finger just so I don't get comments. I don't know. I don't know, but I probably will. And then I will probably call this done. Thanks, Ryan. If I was going to take it to color, I'd probably do a wash with a color dodge layer, turned down to really low opacity. And then I would probably start using overlays, soft lights, multiplies, and just kind of build it up like a watercolor painting with really light washes. Unfortunately, the guys in the background are fairly monotone. The only colors I'd really need are some blue for the ice and some beiges for Ciri. Ciri doesn't have a ton of color on her as a character. But yeah, that's probably what I would do. But luckily, I don't have to. Thank God. Thank God. Color dodge has a really cool. I'm probably gonna say this the wrong way, so bear with me, because I'm not like a mega pro when it comes to this. But you can get a color dodge layer. I usually choose something a little desaturated, kind of in here, with my other. I do this a lot on my Elden Ring stuff to give it that kind of tarnished patina look. You turn it way down, way down, way down to like a 7. I go a little darker, maybe a little more saturated. It essentially makes like a tone ground, which is like what NC Wyeth and like the Mexfield Parish Brandywine School did, where they would do a drawing or they would do like a black and white painting to establish all their values before they would add color. And then they would take a really, really thinned out like burnt sienna or raw umber, and they would wash over the whole thing. And immediately it felt like half done. Like the coloring was mostly done when they did that. And then they'd add touches of color here and there. But yeah, you can play with the opacity of it. But essentially, it makes it so your blacks aren't black anymore. It makes it so it looks like you painted the whole thing with like a brown or like a sienna. And it just... It lets, when you drop other colors on it, makes it not feel so stark. It's essentially just mimicking that traditional painting technique. But you can do it with other colors too. You can do it with other layers too. Let's see if I can find a good example. Here's a good example. So something like this, the whole painting was done with like grays, or like a Payne's gray and white, so all the values were set up that way. And then you'd wash over it with a sienna. That way you get this really nice kind of sunset golden hour feel, where like, even when you put blue in the sky, the blue has a little bit of that sienna in it. It makes a really nice effect where even your cool colors have like a warmth. But yeah, and then if they want really harsh, like harsh, vibrant blue, something like this is a good example. So you can tell in the clouds, if you zoom in here, like this whole thing had a wash of burnt sienna over it. And then they would take a really opaque, like ultramarine, and they would go in and they would chisel in this area of sky between the clouds to give it that pop. But like this whole painting, you can tell the whole thing was washed with the sienna, and then they'd go in with the blues and washes. But yeah, we had to do a bunch of master replicas when I was in school, and we had to learn that Maxfield Parish, Howard Pyle, and C. Wyeth technique. It was informative. It was cool. It was one of the only assignments in art school that I thought was actually like beneficial. So one of the only ones where I actually learned a lot was doing those master copies, because you didn't just have to copy it; you had to copy it the way that they did it, and it was very, very informative. But yeah. You can really see it in his Last of the Mohicans paintings. They have this amazing, just everything feels, it's like right at dawn or dusk. This really nice, just warm kind of glow. You want to make it really, really low transparency though, because you want to keep your values. How's everybody doing? I'll be live for a couple hours, then I gotta go to the gym. My gym's new schedule fucking sucks, but I can't go at night anymore. I gotta go like 5 in the morning to get in the pool, or I gotta go at like 2 in the afternoon. It's really, really annoying, but we will work around it. Just means more streams, but shorter streams. Dragon Ball comic, hell yeah. Yeah, man, I would love to talk art school. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. I made some really good friends, but it was a monumental waste of time, energy, and money. Yeah. I tell myself it was worth it just for the friendships, which it was. Got some really, really good friends for life out of it, but as far as what I learned, it was next to nothing. I can't tell if they're going to enjoy that intensity in her eyes or not. Let me knock it back slightly. This has to get knocked back. Do 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 Yeah, the fine art illustrate teachers had contempt for illustration because it was considered a low art form. It was commercial. It wasn't as artistic. Yeah, they fucking hated illustration. Illustration hated fine art because fine art was up their ass. Photography hated all the departments because they thought they were obsolete. Ceramics thought that all the painting majors were trash because he couldn't physically shape their painting. Everybody hated everybody because everyone had a fucking massive ego problem because it's art school and everybody thinks they're gonna be the next big thing. None of them are. But yeah. Oh. Didn't realize I was still on an overlay. Kill that. Boo-doo-doo-doo. Do-ba-do-boo, boo-boo, boo-boo-boo. Do-ba-do-boo-ba-do-boo, boo-ba-do-boo, boo-ba-do-boo. There's some Easter eggs in this piece they wanted me to possibly emphasize. That might be the only thing they send back. I don't know, though. There's a bunch of Gwent cards hidden around the piece. They wanted them Easter eggy, so like hidden, but also something that would be visible. They're in here. They're just very subtle. You know, they're hanging around. Yeah, Siri's got a good design. She's got a good design. I haven't played any of the Witcher games. I haven't played The Witcher 3. I'm familiar with it through osmosis. I know most of the, you know, general stuff about it, but I've never taken the time to do a deep dive. Rand, I think I forgot to respond to a message you sent me the other day when I was going back and forth to the hospital with my mom. I'm sorry if I just realized I meant to respond to you and I don't think I did, unless I'm misremembering. But I will get back to you. It's been a bit of an insane week. My mom's got to get surgery on her eyes, which we were hoping to avoid, but you know, it is what it is. She was the only one in my family that never had to get eye surgery, but now she's part of the club. No, she, my mom had an experimental treatment for a cancer she had that was inoperable. It was in her side of her throat in a place where if they operated, there was a very high risk of killing her. So they modified a proton accelerator that they use for chiseling out brain tumors. And they mapped her throat digitally and used the proton accelerator to essentially laser through the tumor in her throat. And there was a bunch of other stuff included with it that they had to do. And unfortunately, one of the side effects is that the pressure in her head over time has been steadily increasing to a point where it's squeezing her optical nerves, and if we don't do something about it, it will make her permanently blind, because she's rapidly losing vision in her eyes at an accelerated rate, and it's irreversible. So if we don't do something to stop it now, she won't get, you know, it'll just keep getting worse and it won't get better. So they're gonna have to actually go in there and do some actual manual surgery. But yeah. We've been hoping that that wouldn't have to happen because it's a risky surgery. But it is what it is, as they say. So that's coming up first week of February, so I'll be taking some time off to, she won't be able to get out of bed that week, so I'll be taking care of her. In positive news, my family's restaurant that I designed and helped build is going very, very well, turning a very good profit. So it's nice that that's finally open. I'll have to take you next time you're out, Ryan. That's okay, man. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. I'm so sorry, Jacobo. That's really, really awful. It's such a horrible way to lose somebody. The history of the royal family of Hyrule is also the history of the Calamity Ganon. I'm sorry, Jacobo. Thanks, Shays. Actually, there is a special table for me. It's in a back room that I added on in the final stages of the plan with some soundproofing overlooking the ocean. And there's a special table in there, and there's a big blank wall that I'm going to do some kind of mural on. I got to decide what I want to do, though. It's like a big empty canvas. I can do whatever I want with. But probably going to do some kind of weird James Genie thing. Some kind of weird thing with birds or something. I don't know. Haven't started that yet. I'm going to do it digitally and then print it on soundproofed canvas baffles. But yeah, there is a private room that we will go to, and we will eat free steak and drink free liquor and be jolly. That would be great. Now, the client's already happy with this piece, so I don't want to overcook it. I did want to fix her face, and I have done that. Her face was way too big. Now it's more correct. Her hair looks better. I blended out that wrinkle in the shirt. Maybe her sword, just because I don't like how line tooly it looks. Because, you know, I use the line tool. But, yeah, maybe I'll give that a quick pass, even though you won't see it when it prints, though. You only see it if you zoom way the fuck in, so maybe not. I don't think I'm gonna, because you're not gonna see it. I gotta be better about not working on things people won't see. Wider waist, longer legs. I don't know, I have her character model up. Let me look at it again. Wider waist. She's in this weird pose where she's leaning forward a little. I think that's what's throwing me off. She's in this weird, like, leaning forward stalking thing, and it's... I posed a little anatomy fig for it, but she does have long legs. I can't make her legs longer with this piece. I could make her head smaller and shrink her torso, but I might just have to not do that for this, because they want this, like, now. This was a painting I did a while ago. But I take your criticism to heart. I see what you're saying. Oop. Whoop. You whoop. My bad. I am glad I shrunk her head. Oh no, dude, I appreciate the feedback. I'm always appreciative of feedback. I am very glad I shrunk her head. Even with her leaning forward, that head is way too big. Hey Artie. Yeah, okay, better. Boo-doo, boo-doo. This hand needs some work, and then I think I'm gonna call it done. Do it, Chase. I need to see Nosferatu. That should be my only goal this week, is to see Nosferatu. I will say, Shays, I think if you're gonna illegally immigrate into the U.S., you probably picked just about the worst time ever to do that, but hey, good luck. Roll those dice. Nosferatu. That doesn't look good. That doesn't look good at all. Pardon me. Okay. That's awesome, dude. I'm glad you got so much attention on it. Okay. Let me... All right. Please hold. What shall I work on next? What shall it be? You guys want to see this fucking thing I pumped out for Christmas? Wow, this is a fucking mess. Wow, it's a fucking mess. Oh boy. But hey, done enough for Christmas. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Oh boy. Do I want to do this? I think I do. I think it's time. Is it time? Maybe it's not time. I don't know. I might abandon this one. I like the framing, but I don't like the dead-on Lilith, and I don't know. I was excited to paint a little skeleton baby, but I don't know. This one might be on the ash heap. Give this one a little more love. I do want to finish this one. I don't know why I want to finish this one so badly and not the other one. Please hold. I gotta pull up a reference real quick. Do 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 do. Okay. Let's render some hieroglyphs. We're going to be bouncing between this one and the Reichert Elden Ring one. Yes, the Chozo Empire who built the pyramids. I don't know if you guys watch Shane Gillis's podcast, Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. They had some crazy artist on making a comic about Garfield being a prostitute. It's pretty wild. I don't know why anybody would do such a thing, but, you know. It's disgusting to see something like that go so mainstream as to be on their podcast. Degenerate, really. That's how I would describe it. I just don't know what kind of artist would want to draw Garfield as a prostitute with a fat ass. But, you know, it's really a shame. I think it was some Japanese artist, but I haven't looked into it deeply. Oof. I mean, it's on their Patreon. Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. You can find it there. Just tell people not to look at it. I'd never support an artist who creates such a thing, personally. I heard that the angle they took for Nosferatu about being a toxic ex-lover is actually very, 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 very interesting. I like that a lot. If that's true, I think that's actually hilarious. That was the one major change I heard they made to the story, is that the Nosferatu already knew the girl. Like she had been a previous victim or something that didn't die. I mean, Coppola sort of did that, but he made it like a past life, like they knew each other in a past life and were reincarnated. He did that whole, you know, doomed romance thing with them, which I like. But I guess, at least from what I've heard, I haven't seen it, so... But I heard that in this one, she's like a previous victim that he wants to hook up with again. Good. I need a villain vampire. No romance here. I need a monster. I'm excited to see it. And I will see it this week. Wow. I will. I'll try to see it before then. will try to see it before then, Ryan. I will try. Might be hard. Yeah, man. You can run ideas past me anytime, or you can run them past me live if you prefer, or off. Whatever you want to do. I'm always here. Oh. Wow. Oh my goodness, the Hans Zimmer Sherlock Holmes soundtrack. Goodness. Finally, some vaporwave bullshit to listen to. Finally, I can zone out. Time to time travel, guys. Give me that beat. Give me like a doom doo doo doom doo doo doom. Give me that. Give me that. Elden Ring's DLC characters. Some of the costumes and armor feel like they're referencing ancient Rome, even Aztec and Chinese styles, although I wouldn't go that far. I'm wondering if it might be cool to play with armor and costumes that really branch out from medieval Europe into other Western cultures of previous generations. But for you as a fan of the story, would it be disappointing to see someone go that far off the beaten path? I'm wondering if it's unnecessary, a passing fancy bad idea. My idea for you is to sketch it out and see if you like it. I think that's something that has to be proven on the page. I think me as a fan, if the designs work and they look cool, I'm not going to care. I've seen people push and pull that mythology in so many different directions. Funny story, when we were doing Crimson Daggers and people started asking for portfolio building homework assignments, the very first assignment I gave people as a mentorship way back then was to take the King Arthur story, take the four big characters that I called them, Arthur, Merlin, Morgana, and Mordred. So you had, you know, four archetypes, the hero, the wizard, the villain, and the, you know, the evil reflection of the hero with Mordred. Two sorcerers, one good, one bad, two heroes, one good, one bad. I said, take the King Arthur mythology and do it in any culture that is not Europe. So, like, one of my favorite ones was Thomas Mahan did it, King Arthur story in Japan. Some people did China, some people did Aztec, some people did Rome. Just to play with character design using a well-known archetype. So like, my inclination is that it can definitely be done. It's just about how it's done. So I would sketch it out. At the very least, I mean, I think you could get away with bringing in influences from those things into it. Like, you know, it's not like no one in England had ever been to China. A few people had, very few, but some of them had. You've got to get out of jail free card with Merlin living backwards in time and remembering the future. He could know about other things, but yeah, play with it. See if you like it. If you like how it looks and it looks cool, I'd say go for it. I'm a really big fan of culture flipping stories. Like, take Beowulf and put it in Japan. What is a Japanese yokai version of like Grendel look like? You know, what is that? I love that kind of thing. Take the story of Aladdin and the lamp. And what if it took place in a Viking culture? What does a magic genie lamp look like to Vikings? What does a genie look like to Vikings? You know, what does a treasure cave of wonders look like in a Norse mythology? What does the evil wizard who tricks them into going in there look like? Like, taking stories and flipping them between different cultures is a really good way to exercise your design chops. What does Journey to the West look like, the Chinese myth, if you did it in an Aztec? What does the Monkey King look like if he's a South American monkey? You know? If he's Mayan instead of, you know, Chinese. Like, what is that? Essentially, because King Arthur historically comes after Rome, you have a good faith access to any culture that Rome touched. Anything that the Roman Empire traded with or conquered, you could theoretically put in your story and get away with it because the Romans could have brought a part of that to England before the empire fell. So, like, you have access to tons of stuff that could have, you know, it's not impossible that someone has a weapon or a piece of armor from a faraway culture that was handed down through their family or whatever that came from the old empire. It's all on the table because you're dealing with, you know, something that came shortly after the fall of Rome. I think the new God of War 4 and Ragnarok, I believe there's a throwaway line, I might be misremembering this, I believe there's a throwaway line that suggests that Mimir, the severed talking head you wear on your hip, I believe it's suggested very subtly that he's supposed to be Merlin in the God of War mythology. Because I think he has a throwaway line about having a romance with Nimue, when he visited, you know, the Celtic lands. He does talk about it in the game. I can't remember the exact line, but I think God of War is suggesting that they're the same character. Yeah, the Paradise Lost movie would have been great. If he disappeared, just send him an email that says if I don't hear back from you in 60 days, I'm putting it in my portfolio. Did they pay you? If they didn't pay you, you own the work. If they didn't pay you and they disappear, it's yours. If they did pay you and they disappear, just send them a message that says, hey, I need a response by this date or I'm going to assume you're gone. Yeah, just send them a message that says, hey, if you didn't sign an NDA that says you can't release the work, then you're fine. Unless there's a contract specifically stating that you can't post it, then you can post it. Yeah, I'd send him if you want to be maximum good faith and be completely blameless. I'd send him an email, mark it as urgent, and say, "Hey, I'd like to put this in my portfolio, but I haven't heard back from you. I'm sure you're busy, but if I don't hear back in 30 days, I'm going to assume this relationship is done, and I can, post the work." Yeah, man. If there's no contract signed, then it doesn't matter. There's literally nothing he can do to you. And if he's already don't worry about being honorable if he's ghosting you. If you're sending him messages and he's not responding, and you're asking basic questions like, "Can I put this in my portfolio?" You're not the one being dishonorable, he is. He started the bad behavior, so yeah. Number one, you're not doing anything wrong by putting it in your portfolio, because there's no contract. Number two, the guy's not responding to your good faith questions, so who fucking cares if he gets angry because he's not responding to you? So on both prongs, throw it in your portfolio. If you want to be maximum, honorable or whatever, just send him a warning and say "Hey, unless you reach out to me and ask me specifically not to, I'm going to put this in my portfolio in 30 days. But also, even if he asks you not to, there's no contract. He can't... There's no world where he can make you not post it. That's your choice to not post it if he asks you to. Be right back. back. Yeah, man. Just post it. Or wait a little bit, give them a warning and post it. Whatever you want to do. But yeah, you're fine. It's not dishonorable. You're totally fine. Worst case, he reaches out and says, "Oh, sorry, I missed your messages. Could you take that down?" In the email you send them, just give them a date. Just be like, hey, I'm updating my portfolio February 1st. You know, I'm excited to post the work. I haven't heard back from you. Just letting you know I'll be posting it. Hope all is well. You know, yeah. Dude shouldn't be weird about it anyway. It's like free promotion for whatever he's doing, so. Excited because when I go to the gym today, I'll get to swim for the first time since Christmas. Very exciting. My body needs it. How often should you update your portfolio? I mean, fairly consistently if you have new work that's better than your old work. Your portfolio should basically always have your best stuff in it, you know? If you have a new piece that's, you know, exciting to you and looks better than your old stuff, it should go in your portfolio pretty immediately. But I'd say at least, I don't know, at least every 6 months, maybe once a year, if you're actively looking for work. I haven't updated mine in forever because I'm not actively looking for work. I'm doing other stuff. But most of my money the past few years has come from the writing stuff me and Dave have been doing and my meat bun contract that I'm still doing. I say contract, it's not actually a formal contract. We just like working together. But yeah. If you're actively looking for work, you should always have your best stuff visible. Right up front. No one should have to go searching. It should be right there. This feels like Hyperlight Drifter. This feels like Disaster Piece. Something about that bass synth feels very Hyperlight Drifter. My advice to anyone right now entering the market is not to chase the traditional jobs the market provided, like RPGs and cards and comics. Either make your own comic and build your own audience that you control because it's your comic that you own and they're your fans. You can't fire yourself, you know. Make your own thing, build your own audience, or become a brand, find a style that you like, and make just cool art and build an Instagram and sell it on items and shirts and prints and things. I would not recommend anyone entering the industry right now to chase traditional studio jobs or video game jobs or game or comic jobs, unless you're making your own games and comics. I'm gonna pitch a video game to you guys that I want to make very badly. Okay? I don't know how to program, but I'm gonna pitch you this game, okay? Imagine a game. Here's a slice of a level. Some platforms, you know, multiple paths. You can go whatever. You can go down here. You can go up here onto this platform, whatever. Here's all this. Let's say there's a really cool boss here with a big spear, okay? Big fat boss. And up here there's two skinny bosses. They've got sides, okay? Let's say at the end, over here in this special area, it's the end of the level, okay? Let's say that you're this guy over here, alright? It's gonna be sort of a Metroidvania, but there's no going back. There's only going forward. You can find power-ups, maybe it's kind of like a roguelike, maybe you can, you know, get abilities, but the whole thing's gonna be based on branching paths that you go through. So you're this little guy, you can go up here and fight these guys, you get a certain point for it, you get a certain upgrade, or you go this way, fight this guy, you sacrifice something, get a different upgrade. Now, here's the thing. Imagine this entire game is styled like an ancient Egyptian papyrus scroll. You've got the paper texture, you've got the gold leaf, everything looks like it's been hand-drawn on an ancient Egyptian wall or scroll. The whole style of the game looks like that. You're playing an ancient scroll. This game is the Book of the Dead. It's the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. You start over here as a spirit who just died. You go through these trials, you fight these souls-like bosses, And depending on the choices you make of who to fight and who to spare, and what you do going through the whole game, imagine hundreds of screens like this. Depending on all the choices you make going through this, when you get to the end, Amut and Thoth are there, and they weigh your heart against a feather, like at the end of the Book of the Dead, and it determines whether you go down to the Egyptian underworld or you go to Egyptian heaven with Isis and Osiris and all that. I want this game to exist, and it feels like a no-brainer because the format of the Book of the Dead looks like a side-scrolling video game already, because scroll. I want this game to exist so badly, and it feels like it should already exist. But it's the market issue because of AI. I wouldn't have said so a year ago, but Hasbro came out and said that they're going to start using AI for Dungeons and Dragons, and I think that's going to kill, because they also do Magic the Gathering. Even though they said they wouldn't use AI for Magic the Gathering, I feel like now that they're doing it for that, they might. It's just funny to me because the Egyptian Book of the Dead is already about a series of trials. There's a bunch of really cool gods that could be bosses already baked into it. It feels like very obvious to do it, but no one's ever done it. The most successful artists I'm seeing right now are people like Jaw Cooper. Oh, that reminds me, actually. Hold on. She's having a sale today. Hold on. Store. Come on. Load. Oh. Right. I always forget she does this password thing. Oh. I don't know if I like this one as much as the other one. Never mind. I don't think I want this print. I got the first fruition, and I love it. It's in my kitchen, but I don't think... I don't know if I like this one as much. I don't think I like it as much. What art style do I imagine for it? Please hold. I want it to look like... I want it to look like this. Like, I want it to look like this. It should look like you're actually playing it, and you should side scroll through the game and encounter characters and like gods and things and like 100%. And the story of what you're doing, if you want to go the extra mile in the walls of the game, like in the sidelines and stuff inside the architecture, you could write the story of what's happening on the screen in the hieroglyphs. Like if you're battling Anubis, it could talk about your epic battle with Anubis inside the walls. Like over here on the sides, it could talk about what you're actually doing on that screen. Like, it should look like this. The game should be this. It should be a side scroller that looks like this. Be fucking sick. I think it should play like Prince of Persia. It should feel like a Prince of Persia game. But it should look like an actual papyrus scroll. Yeah. It's actually shocking to me that it doesn't already exist. I just have too many other things I'm doing. I'm not sure, but yeah. Can I do a werewolf voice? I mean, I could try. Absolutely, Jacobo. That's my advice. Attach yourself to audiences for popular things that already exist with targeted fan art in your style. And in the background, start making your own thing that's similar to those things that you love. And then be your own boss, because you're the only person who isn't going to replace you. That's my advice. also, things are going to get very weird economically in the next year or two. So, a lot of companies that rely on print media are going to either dramatically raise prices or go under. So, just remember, things are going to get weirder. I don't know if they're going to get better or worse, but they're definitely going to get weird in the short term. In the long term, I have no idea how it's going to shake out. But stuff's going to be a little strange for a bit. Hey, Sharky. Yeah, man. You should find out if they're legit. Ask about the studio, see if they have any previous work they've done. I could see it working. The changes in print media are going to be as a result of tariff wars. When the new president comes in, assuming everything that is being talked about happens, there's going to be a blanket raft of tariffs on China that are going to make it virtually impossible to print, at least for smaller, even for bigger companies, depending how serious the tariffs are. Most printing is done overseas, not all, but most. But it's going to be enough that it's going to upset the market, and it's going to raise costs to a point where some people might stop making print stuff, at least temporarily. Like, I know me and Dave might have to. We might not be able to do our third book unless we can find a comparable place to print it. So things are going to get a little strange, because the sourcing for all of the printed material is going to have to change for a lot of people. Because the profit margins on comics and tabletop games are already super thin. They're not massive, massive returns on those things. So even if the price goes up by 20%, it's gonna mean very, very serious changes for a lot of those companies and a lot of those creators. So I have no idea how it'll all shake out, if it's gonna be worse or better in the long run. I don't have an invested opinion in that. It's just going to change. And I don't know, companies that have business plans and business models and pricing structures that go back 10, 20 plus years don't really like change. It shakes things up in a very unstable to begin with market. So just be ready for that. I'm not sure if companies like Pathfinder or Paizo, I don't know where they print. I'm assuming they print in China. I'm assuming that means they're going to have less money to kick around, which means less hiring. But we'll see what happens. But just be ready for it. I mean, if they can handle orders of 10,000 hardcover, that's the real problem with our books, me and Dave specifically. Like, it's a bit of a thing we did to ourselves, deciding to make hardcover gold printed books, Like, that's hard to do cheap. But yeah, if you're doing just like paper or even paperback, there's probably domestic stuff you could do for not a shitload more. But if you're doing bigger, bulkier things, it's just, yeah, it just becomes a nightmare of escalating prices. No, I never thought I never thought we'd do any of the stuff we're doing now. Yeah. It's been the most successful thing we've ever done. I never thought that would be the case. Yeah, Blackthorn was like one of Blizzard's first games. Dude, it looks like Nathan Explosion with a shotgun fighting orcs. I'll definitely check them out. I can't remember if Blackthorn is like a fun game, but the aesthetic is amazing. It's so 90s. It's like, it's great. The whole aesthetic of the game is just phenomenal. Blizzard would never Blackthorn today. Never. What if Danzig had a shotgun and went through a portal and fought orcs? How many more years left do you think World of Warcraft has before they're like done, or they make a new World of Warcraft? How long do you think it'll coast in the same engine with the same graphics? This year's what, the 20th anniversary? Or close to it? Pretty wild. I don't know what the player count is for World of Warcraft. I have no idea. I could never get into it. I tried. I tried really hard. I just couldn't. It never appealed to me the way it did with all my friends. I tried, but I wish there was an offline version of Final Fantasy XIV where I could just play and not have to rely on parties and other people. I just want to see all the stuff. I don't even want to. I just want to treat it like a museum and go through and see all the cool 3D models of the Amano artwork and all the other shit. But unfortunately, not possible. I never played League of Legends. I don't know anything about it other than what I was told in Arcane. I know nothing about that universe. I feel like a lot of the lore for that was made up in the back end too. I think it started as just give me a bunch of cool character designs, and then later they just stitched together some lore. They are, there is a model viewer for 14, but there's like 1,000 models. But I want to see them in context. I want to hear the music. I want to see the level designs. I want to feel it, you know? I want to feel that Final Fantasy nostalgia. But not the case. Not possible. Yeah, I know literally nothing about League of Legends. Am I correct in saying someone made a mod to Warcraft 3 and created Dota, and then League of Legends ripped off? So League of Legends ripped off Dota? Is that correct? Dota was built on Warcraft 3, and then Blizzard wanted it and they couldn't get it. And then someone took that idea and made League of Legends. But their League of Legends and Dota are essentially the same style of game, am I correct? Heroes of the Storm, is that what I'm thinking of? Is Hearthstone still a thing? Do people still play Hearthstone? I'll probably be live for another 30 minutes. And then I gotta go to the gym. And then I'll try to come back on later tonight if I'm not completely dead. But I gotta get myself a good 2 hours in the gym minimum, because I fucking need it. I need it. I haven't swam in 2 weeks, guys. Dan, can you do a 2-minute treatment for a Charlie Day Luigi's Mansion spinoff film? Yeah, easily. Following the events of the Mario movie, they're rebuilding the Mushroom Kingdom after Bowser's attack, and Mario goes missing, and Luigi and a ragtag team of companions, including Toad, possibly one of the princesses, or another franchise staple character, decide to go looking for Mario. A series of possibly with Bowser even. We might even do that. That might even be fun. A series of spooky mishaps leads them to a haunted mansion. They go inside, and one by one, Luigi's companions disappear until he is left alone in the haunted mansion, eventually seeking refuge in a spooky room where he accidentally activates a trigger on the wall that makes a revolving bookshelf flip around, where he finds the doctor. What's the guy's name? The guy who makes the vacuum? Anyway, he meets that guy, and he gives him the thing that can suck up the ghosts. That's the turning point of the film. And then the back half is him going through a series of spooky adventures inside this haunted house, catching ghosts, until he encounters King Boo. And Luigi finds his courage, finally. Finally, in the end. in the third act finale. Luigi finds his courage and saves his brother Mario. I mean, it's not really a treatment, it's just the events of the game Luigi's Mansion with a couple extra characters, but you get my idea. I guess the real question for a Luigi's Mansion game is, do you have to include the poltergeist? Could you make a Luigi's Mansion game where he's not catching ghosts? Could you just make a haunted house Luigi movie? I guess you'd have to include the poltergeist, right? Honestly, I think Luigi's Mansion, if it were up to me, I don't know, it would be like a limited, like a 4 or 5 episode, where each episode is an hour thing that releases around Halloween. You could do it as a movie, though. I guess you could do it as a movie, it would work. But yeah. Wait for the Switch 2, WCUS, because it's probably going to come out soon, based on the Nintendo leaks. And it's going to be backwards compatible. Just wait for the new Nintendo hardware. Oh boy. Oh boy, guys. This might be the back half when I come back tonight for the next stream. There it is. There's my original. Hell yeah. I'm terrified of the Zelda movie. I'm actually scared of it. I don't think they're gonna get it right. I really don't. A Zelda movie needs that nostalgic, comfortable feeling, like the Never-Ending Story or something. It needs to feel like a fairy tale. And I think they're gonna go for humor. So much of that movie is going to depend on who writes the dialogue. The fact that Link is going to talk is so scary. Like, when you're playing the games, you, the character, are being courageous, so Link being courageous makes sense. But for a character arc in a movie, like, I'm just terrified they're going to spell it out. I'm terrified whoever the actor is that plays Link is going to have a scene where they look at the camera and they're like, "Courage? Me? But I'm just a young Kokiri orphan from the forest. I could never save the kingdom of Hyrule." Like, I'm just, ugh. Oh boy. I'm scared. Oh man, I wish it was animated. Oh god, I would have been so much happier. Also, there's not enough space in a movie to make a Zelda story really work. So, I mean, obviously, because of the Triforce, I would assume it's going to be a trilogy. I think it should be power, wisdom, and courage. The first one's about power. Ganon takes over, usurps everything, whatever. Cliffhanger ending. Second movie, wisdom. It's about freeing the sages or Zelda and learning about what's going on with Ganon. Wisdom, learning the history of Hyrule and, you know, the Master Sword and whatever, and learning things, wisdom. And then the third one's courage. Link has to save the world. That would be my pitch. Because there isn't enough room in a 90-minute or even a 2-hour movie. Like, unless you do a montage, which would suck. A montage would only work in a comedy. Unless you do a montage, there's not going to be room for more than one dungeon. And so much of Zelda is the world and the exploration and the traps and the figuring things out. Like, it's, yeah, I don't know. At least in a trilogy, you could throw 3 or 4 dungeons in there, 1 or 2 in each movie. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's enough room in a 2-hour movie to cover a Zelda game. But yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be a trilogy. If they do a trilogy, it could work. Could be really, really good as a trilogy. But it all comes down to the writing, because Link can't be Tom Holland. He can't be. I'm just a kid. I could never save the world. Like, it can't be that. It can't. Oh boy, I'm scared. I hope they get the people that are at Lucasfilm to do puppets for all the creatures, though. Because the stuff, you know, whether you love or hate the new Star Wars shows, I personally hate most of them, but a couple of them are good. If you got the creature team from, like, The Mandalorian or Skeleton Crew to do all the Zelda monsters, that would look great. I really hope they're not, like, cheap CG. Please hold, chat.